Hello everyone, this is Livery model. To create a brand new model train requires a lot of resources between research, design, tooling, production. It takes a lot of time before you can get any of that money back, and as we know, private companies are there for profits. So it is completely understandable that a company that already has some tooling in its inventory may want to reuse this to create a new model. So they will probably want to modernize it a bit, but the money involved in the development of it is going to be a lot less than starting from scratch. And today's model is exactly that. Here it is. So let me open this up. Now this model was purchased from the Kenro Model Rail Center, which is one of the stores I really like. They have very good customer support, and so far I've always been up to snuff in terms of packaging. So as you can see, things don't get damaged. So here it is. If I can stop struggling with the tape. So today's model is the Ivatt Class 2 MT 262 tank engine in the LMS black livery. The product code of it is 31-442 LMS Ivatt 2MT tank 1205 in the LMS black livery. Updated with the latest and greatest sockets, the next 18 sockets for DCC chips. Now you do have a little bit of history in the back here. If you want to pause it and read it, feel free to do that. But let me tell you a bit about this model while I unpack it. Well, this model was originally scheduled to be released in 1985, or a variant of it anyway, under the mainline branch. So this even predates Bachman. As far as I can understand, it was not released. If you find any different information, please let me know in the comments. I could not find any mainline of the Ivatt Class 2 MT tank version like this. So it seems like this particular model was released for the first time in the 1990s under the Bachman brand. Now, it used to be a split chassis locomotive. This, from what I understand, has an updated chassis. So they actually had to put a bit of research and development in it before it was in its current form. And if you look at this here, this model was produced in 2021 in December. So we have a nice modern instruction manual right here that details where all the detail pack needs to be installed if you so desire to do so, how to maintain it, where to lubricate, how to remove the chassis. Very good instructions from Bachman. Now we also get one of those collector club membership form here, but we're not gonna spend too much time on it. So what was updated on this? Well, I understand that they've updated the livery and they've also updated the chassis. Now for a model that was released in the 1990s, I do not really necessarily expect this to be the most detailed one out there. Oh, okay. So it seems like I have some details which are already broken, which are not part of the detail pack. So before we take a look at this, let's take a look at the detail pack. So what do we have in there? So we got some brake rigging right here, a couple of steps, vacuum pipes, a drain cocks, and some chain link coupling right here. And that little part that fell off here, I guess I'll have to figure out where it goes. It looks like it's some form of handrail maybe. Okay, so let's just put it on the side as not to lose it. And let's look at the model itself. Okay, well, first let me just say that it is pretty heavy. So let's just see if I can pull out the scale here. So 316 grams, relatively small local, no complaint there. That seems to be pretty good actually. Okay, so what do we have on this? So I can already see where that handrail was originally from. I guess I will try to refit it back. But it looks like it was just not glued properly. If you look closely, it has not broken off. At least there's that is good. We do have a couple of very small pipes here, which are a bit fragile. That would explain why the other thing has fallen. Okay, if we look at the buffer beam in front, oh, we do not have any spring buffer. They appears to be fixed. Not sure they're made out of metal. They don't feel that cold to the touch. So if I take a look on that side, right here, that handrail is very well installed. I do see quite a bit of glue on it though. Oh, unfortunately, seems like we will have to deal with that later. The whistles and the valves right here all seems to be made out of metal, which is good. Oh, I gotta say the LMS lettering right here, which seems to be lined, is pretty well detailed and very crisp. Same is true for the builder's place right here. So the Livery application, I don't have any problem with it. What about the cold load? Oh, the cold load is very, very, very shiny. So I'm not sure if it's coal or if it's black glass. But anyway, the thing is that unfortunately, I'm looking right in the cab right now. Although we do have some details, some of which seems to be picked out, which is good, but the floor is quite high, as you can see, so I guess there's some DCC stuff that goes in there. This is where they decided to put it. It's a bit unfortunate, honestly. All the other details, they seems to be pretty well molded. Although we do have a lot of separately fitted parts. I mean, some of it has already fallen off, as you can see with the handrail over there. But we have yeah, those two things, which might be sanders. I'm not 100% sure. If you know what they are, please put the information in the comment. The ladder on the back here is also separately fitted. A lot of piping is on that chassis right here, and seems to be pretty fine. So those sanders right here also very fine. What else? Yeah, that seems to be quite a good upgrade, I would say. I have not seen the original one, so I don't know how much of this is original. I'm really seeing it as you can see today. But I do see a couple of glue spots here and there. Okay, so I think it's worth to give it a try. I'm really looking forward to have that new chassis on the tracks to see how good it will perform. It seems like all those wheels have pickups and everything. I mean, it should be reliable, but I see that the pilot wheels and the one in the back right here do not seem to have pickup. So at least all the powered wheel have pickup. So anyway, we'll get this down on the track and see how it performs. See you in a bit. The Bachman 2MT tank locomotive is now on the track right here. Before we begin, let me just explain what type of setup we have today. For a power source, we're going to use a portable power station, a Vitoman Flash P300. I already did a video on that if you're interested by it. The link's going to be on top over here or down in the description if you can't see it. If I follow along the power, then we're going to reach that train controller right here. That is just a basic Bachman train set train controller. This was featured in the DeWitt Clinton video, which you can actually also see with a link on top over there if you're interested by that. Then the next step, the power goes directly to those tracks. These are Bachman easy tracks. The reason I'm using this is a carpet and I don't necessarily want to use regular track on my carpet as not to cause any issues with the locomotive. So everything is plugged in, so let me just try to bring the power up a bit and we'll see what it does. So right now the power is at about 15% on the Bachman controller, and it looks like the locomotive is going steadily but slowly forward, but it's keeping its speed, which is, you know, pretty good. I think they did a decent job with that new chassis, it seems. Let me see if I can slow it down even a tad more. Okay, so now it's at 10%, which I think, no, it's not able to sustain it, but it did for a while anyway. Okay, so let me try to bring it to 50% speed, which is usually the speed that you would run in your locomotive. This locomotive has not been running yet, so I'll try to bring it to 50%, looks what it does, and see if it derails or anything. Now that's actually pretty good, I would say. The locomotive is very silent. I can see that there is some quality in that mechanism over there. Now that I think about it, I think the wheels rolling on the rails is actually louder than the noise of the mechanism itself. Okay, let's try to go in reverse and see what it does. Okay, I'm again at 50% speed. The locomotive is very smooth, still very silent. It does have an old body, and some of the features it has do show the body's age, but I gotta say that so far the mechanism seems to be very good. And again, this locomotive has not been run in. So let me run it in, and we'll then proceed and see if we can have it going around that loop with a couple of cars. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I gotta say it ran perfectly well. I only gave it about 10 minutes in each direction, but seeing that it was running so well and every single part needs to already be in its current place, I don't think there's any need to run this more than that. However, I would still recommend that you do so 30 minutes in each direction. on your own model, because that's what the manufacturer recommends anyway. What I wanted to know is, now that it's been running by itself, how would it look running with some coaches? So what I've selected today are those. These are some of the Hatton Genesis coaches. They're not representing any particular prototype, but they represent early coaches that you would see in the pre-grouping eras. Now those coaches are in the LNWR livery, which is different from LMS, but considering that the LNWR was absorbed by the LMS in the early 1920s when grouping happened, I still think that they were the right types of coaches to fit with this little locomotive. So let's see if I back it up, if it's gonna couple correctly, and if there's gonna be any funky thing happening. And that looks like it's a success. So let me start it up, and we'll take a look at it running around that little oval for a couple of turns. Okay, so let me wrap everything up, and I'll tell you what I think about the Ivatt Class 2 NT tank engine from Bachman in the LMS livery. So what do I think about the Bachman branch line Ivatt Class 2 NT 262 tank locomotive in LMS livery? Well, let me start by saying that this being a model as old as it is, with that new paint job on it and that clearly modern finish, it does not look that old from at least 3 feet apart. Yes, if you look very closely, you're gonna notice that there is some glue here and there, that the smoke box right here, if you look at the handrail, there's also more glue here, and that some of the details are a bit on the chunkier side. However, what I can say to that is that with a model, it always comes down to the price. Now I will tell you pretty soon how much I paid for this. I know another reviewer, Sam Strain, not to mention him, actually put this model as the worst model of the year a couple of years ago. Do I really think that this deserves to be worst model of the year? Well, my specific example here, I do not think it deserves that. I have a lot worse stuff in my collection. Now the price of this. Well, this had an RRP of around £162, which I think, like most models out there today, is way over what I think it's worth. Now, Sam's train paid £140 for his, and he deemed that at that price, it wasn't pulling all the bells and whistles that it should have had. Now, if I show you my receipt here, for this very locomotive, I actually paid £83.33. Seriously, for that price, you can do much worse. So whether or not a model is good or not, once the performance is actually taken into account, and this is a very good performer, by the way, I guess everything else comes down to what price it is. So how much detail you're going to see on it. If it's under £100, it's going to have less of an impact than if you pay almost £150 for it. Which to me, that seemed to be too much money for such a thing. Now, is there room for improvement? Yes. Do I wish that they would always be around that price? Well, of course. As you guys know, I'm always in for a deal. But you gotta understand that Sam's train reviews versus mine are very different for two different reasons. He does that for a living and I don't. So I hunt for bargains while he has to always get one of the latest thing that's out there to keep an interest and keep his channel going forward, which, I mean, I completely understand and I do not blame him at all for that. So all in all, I would give this, a pretty good pass at the price I paid, with all the feature it has, with the good performance it had. But I'd like to have your opinion. What do you think about this? Do you think that the model is still worth being worst model of the year? Or do you think that at that price I actually had a good model? Do you also think that manufacturers should have a second line that would be much more economical by reusing older model like this? Actually, this was originally what Hornby had with their railroad range, but now prices have gone up. Well, let me know in the comments, and I'll be very interested on knowing what you think about it and keeping on with the discussion. So on that note, this was Livery Model. I hope everyone have a very good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Livery Model out.